In other news, let's talk about one of the most gorgeous transfers I've ever seen.
Oh my God, it was
looks great.
Holy God.
It looks
Every
great.
like you would see every fucking stitch in this. Like it's
every
just,
hair on everyone's head.
Oh my God. Oh, the couple of scenes where she's shot in profile, like you can see the wispy hair.
Oh yeah, dude, you can see every pore.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
which kind of belies one thing in this movie, which is they don't look alike at all.
No.
Like, and there's all this conversation about how much the two of them look alike.
They don't.
Like,
they don't.
No,
not even
they do not.
No. I wouldn't say
they both look kind of Swedish. That's
they're both white blonde women. I mean, I don't know.
In the way that any white blonde woman looks like any other.
One's a strawberry blonde, one's a blonde. So there's that.
How can you fucking tell?
Yeah.
Hey Siri, show me an art movie.
There you go. Oh my God. Oh, right down to the like showing that guy burning himself in Vietnam, and right down to like what's in it that thing that Nazi.
I'll tell you, I saw this in college, and it had been a long time.
Yeah, what is it? The Warsaw concentration.
Yeah, the Stoller.
No, it's the Warsaw Ghetto. It's out.
Warsaw Ghetto.
Yeah.
Jim, literally the only scene I remembered clearly from probably Bigby's class, I don't know, is where she leaves the piece of glass on the ground, and then Liv Ullmann steps on it, and then the film breaks.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I remember.
She steps on it after she leaves. Like that's the best part about it is she's been sitting there like watching it the whole time.
Yeah.
And eventually she gets up and walks away, and it's just like, ow! And
it wasn't. Like, it wasn't how I remembered that. Actually, I thought she was sitting right there or standing right there.
Bergman's got something about broken glass because there's a really horrifying scene in Cries and Whispers. Where this woman like puts it up her
oh my goodness,
to like refuse to have sex with her husband.
What was that movie we watched on the show here that was woman was doing she was cutting herself between her legs with a razor? What the fuck was that?
The piano teacher.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Now I saw this film in film school, San Francisco State, right? And back then their system was the professor would go to the front and says, give me blah, blah, blah film number 3875. And there was like monitors all over, and they would actually start a 16mm film chain from the film center and then transmit it to the theater, right? To the auditorium.
Wow.
It sucked because it was terrible. It was unbearable. It was all low resolution and warbly. And it's like these old Janus film, back when Janus film prints were like, had a bad reputation. So it was like, I watched this film. It's like, I don't get it. I just don't understand why this is such a big deal. Then I watched it now, and this fucking gorgeous Criterion transfer. It's like, I get it now.
Yeah.
And also no medium shots exist.
No,
like, it's,
not really.
It's wide or it's right on your face.
Yeah.
Like those are the only
wide shots are up there.
There's a few mediums, but but you're mostly right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, BB. What's the actress's name?
BB Anderson.
God, she's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she is.
Quintet.
Yeah.
Damn.
Right.
And Bergman has such a wonderful understanding of where to put a camera.
Oh,
like it's
his visual geography is astounding.
Oh,
you know where you are in every moment of his films.
And the first 20 minutes of this movie feel like an episode of the Twilight Zone in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Like all of the blank walls and the close-ups and everything that they do, like it's so
entire movie is scored, edited, and paced like a horror flick.
It is a horror movie.
Well, they said it's a psychological horror film. That's how it's been characterized.
I don't know.
It's like the first 20 minutes.
I stopped trying to figure that out.
Well, I thought it was actually. I thought once I knew that, I kind of knew where it was going. Although this felt like it was a psychological horror film financed by IKEA.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, you know what I mean? It's like there's that blank walls and that Swedish spareness to it. It was like really off-putting after a while.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm like embarrassed to admit that this is the first Bergman I've seen all the way through now.
Wow.
You're not the only one.
Okay.
Yeah, never seven seal, huh? Oh, well.
Did you get another Scorsese pick off the list there, Chris?
I can't.
has other ones.
I can't express how much I enjoyed this movie. I think it's one of the best things we've watched this year. And
wow!
How much of it had you seen before, or had you seen any of it?
I had not seen any of this one, and I loved that. I love all of the influences you see here. Bergman doing, just as good, almost if not better than the people he's influenced by. There's a ton of Godard in here. Obviously, the whole opening sequence was amazing. But you know what? There is a lot of Carl T. Dreyer all over this fucking thing.
Yeah, maybe.
And I really thought of The Passion of Joan of Arc and Vampire with his extreme close-ups of faces, and then the really, really stark set design of the wides is exactly what Dreyer does. Dreyer doesn't do anything else. It's just those two things.
I felt retroactively David Lynch.
Right, and he is Danish.
David
What's
Lynch,
that, Jim?
Borrowed a lot of this
Danish, so they're Scandinavian.
Yeah, they're both
kind of an aesthetic that they have.
Do you know who loves this movie? It's one of their all-time favorite movies. Is Tarkovsky.
I can see that too. I actually felt Tarkovsky in here as well. So I could see how he was influenced by this. Obviously, we talked about the cinematography, but there's so many things to gush about. But one scene in particular that just was so striking to me was it's a scene where you don't know if it's sort of a dream or if it's real, but BB Anderson is lying in bed and Liv Ullmann is like in the background. She kind of walks out of this. It's the lighting. The lighting is like this kind of soft, like diffused. And then, but the lighting in BB's room is very dark and stark, and
there's like all this contrast on her, and then Liv Ullmann's like a ghost.
And she's kind of a ghost floating there, and she comes in, and
then the next morning, she's like, "Did you come into my room and talk to me last night?"
Yeah,
and she just goes,
"That was the most." And of course, what's behind Chris is so striking. But the price of admission alone is. I've never you guys know the kind of movies I like. They're very kind of dark and perverse and racy and weird and sometimes gross and violent and sexual. And I have not been turned on when that woman told that fucking story, dude.
This checked off all your things.
I knew you'd like that part.
Right. It just doesn't put it on screen. It makes you listen.
It's such a wonderful acting on both of their parts.
Orgy, I said
it flips show don't tell on its head, doesn't it?
I will point out that in the original script, the boys who they're talking about are 16 and 13.
Oh,
is 13 years old.
Wow.
And he and actually they changed it from the script a little bit because Bergman was okay with BB saying, could we change this a little bit to where it would sound more like a woman would describe it? Because it wasn't written so much that way. And he was like, of course, sure. Yeah. Make it more.
And Bergman's also maybe dying of fucking lung disease.
Yeah,
that's right. He was, when he wrote it, he was actually had what pneumonias or something. He was recovering, in a hospital.
Yeah, he was in the hospital.
I have a question about this, though. In terms of the plot, do you think that Liv Ullmann's character is sincerely has like a mute thing going on because of a psychological problem, or she's just this weird bourgeois person trying to fake everybody out?
I thought she was just
because she got dragged out a couple times by BB.
Yeah.
Well, she can talk when she needs to because when she picks up that boiling water.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
She's just being a bitch. She's just
being a bitch.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck?
I mean, when I realized she was writing letters, it was like, oh.
And they're not nice letters.
She can talk.
Slagging on
she can express
her,
herself.
Fucked up, man. She's a bitch.
She's choosing to do that.
4 out of 10 stars would not recommend. No, that's the letter.
But I mean, this movie. Look at what behind Chris. I mean, it's just so beautiful. This whole.
It's gorgeous. Come on.
Every frame of this movie is
without actual lesbianism happening. It's actually really good.
Sven Nykvist or Nyquist.
There's actual
lesbianism. Yes, that's the guy, right?
Yeah, there's so much sexuality in this movie that it is all over the map, and it's wonderful.
And it's the best kind because it's all rumbling underneath the stuff.
Yeah,
yes, it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'd never seen this movie. I don't even think I'd heard of it.
You've never heard of it? I'd heard of it, but never seen it.
This was, the list of Bergman movies you gotta.
This is up on top, man. This is like
my mom. My mom loves Bergman.
Like after the Seventh Seal, this is the one I hear about.
That's about right.
Seventh Seal will fuck you up.
It's
Seventh Seal is amazing.
Uh-huh.
It also makes you like Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Oh yeah. They Melvin's me.
Okay, go Chris, go.
Once I stopped trying to figure out what the fuck was happening, I enjoyed it a lot more. And by the time you get to the end and you're like literally seeing the cameraman, you're like, okay, sure, why not? I mean, like everything else is like,
that's the part I didn't like about this. Like,
I'm not gonna, but it's like, again, it's like watching like Eraserhead or something. You're so this movie induces a trance that I found completely engaging and entertaining. I mean, like when you realize like B.B. Anderson has to carry this whole fucking movie like by herself, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Although there's some amazing
face acting by Liv Ullmann, man. Like
by Liv Ullmann.
That's a good job.
Like it reminded me. I mean, I see a lot of plays, and have for years with my wife in San Francisco, and this felt like someone had filmed a play in the most engaging and interesting way possible. Because like plays in at least the ones we end up going to a lot, like they're also like, I don't know what the hell's happening. Maybe it'll reveal itself to me as it goes on, because they don't spoon feed you what's happening. You're meant to figure it out as it goes along. And yeah, I mean, this is art film to the extreme, and I thought it was great.
And it's so wonderful that it is so engaging, like you said, yet he keeps reminding you how artificial it is and that you are watching a movie.
See, that's the part I don't like. Like, I wish it didn't have the projector stuff
and I think that's a valid criticism. And I think if it didn't, it would still be a wonderful movie. What I'm saying is it works for me in spite of that. Like,
it works in spite of it for me too. Yeah, I wish I didn't have to say that.
Do you think it's a minus, not a plus? That he,
and also again, a completely unprompted narrator out of nowhere in the middle of it. Like, it's just
that's just like, okay, this is happening now.
It wasn't unprompted. She was actually trying to connect, and that's a great thing about that show. Even she's talking about something she's never talked to anybody about, and she's totally opening up her whole soul about.
You don't need the narrator over the two of them gathering mushrooms. Like, it's not necessary.
No, but it was great though. It was great. There. It was great. I thought it was great. Now, the thing is, my bifurcation on this thing is between Bergman, the guy who actually gets really deep into the theatrical relationship between the two women in this film. It's like about, not talking, revealing yourself, merging personalities in a lot of ways. And
are they two different people?
And his ridiculous,
right? It's two sides of one person, perhaps.
And his ridiculous '60s. Oh my God, let's show Vietnam and this Hitler thing, and it's like it's just a movie. Let's show the projector at the beginning, the middle.
Yeah, I wish he had more faith in himself.
Yeah, pretty much. Those scenes showed me he was trying to do an art film, and it's like it was so fake, but. The stuff when you get
that's the artifice of the film.
The meat of the film was great. It's just the stuff around there is just fat and needs to be cut off in a lot of ways.
So it was a stylistic thing because it was in style at the time. He was like, "Oh, this is like Godard would do this," or
he made it feel like a '60s movie.
A lot of Godard in there.
What Godard would have done is have the narrator,
each other, right? But there's the whole scene in Weekend. Where the woman describes the little orgy.
I was about to say that.
Oh yeah.
Thinking about that
very similar to Weekend in a lot of ways.
Yeah, which one came first? Persona.
Yeah.
Persona. So the scene in Weekend.
But I honestly, I didn't.
Remember the other Godard movie I showed, Masculine Feminine.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good one.
There's the Swedish movie they go to see in the theater.
Is this
where these two people are in like this bright white building talking to each other?
Oh yeah.
I thought, like when I was thinking about the scene on the Weekend, to Jared's point, the conversation that these two have is way better.
Yeah, but here how I had this thought about because
Godard's was like, oh, I want to do one of those too.
Yeah, like I thought a lot about Godard here, and I was like, I like a lot of Godard's, and some of them I don't, but I felt like Bergman has more like. For some reason, I was saying to myself, there's a more sophistication here that Godard sometimes is very childish when he does certain things. Yeah. And he just doesn't, he's just having a lot of fun. And I think Bergman is more like,
French culture is a bunch of a fun-loving group of cheesing surrender monkeys.
I just feel like if Godard had done this, like the one time the narrator shows up, it would be a guy who had throat cancer and had a voice box, and like that would have been way more interesting. Like,
I love that this group is got to the point where we're comparing various 60s art film directors.
This is just Ted's point.
How is this like Alphaville? We're gonna find out right now.
See, that's an example of a Godard that I cannot stand. I can't listen to that voice, dude.
We met it when Sheila and I were on one of our trips to Ireland. On one of our trips to Ireland, Sheila and I were standing by some lake, and an old man came by with his dog, and he had throat cancer. So he had one of those talk boxes that he held.
Those vibrator things, yeah.
So he had a thick Irish accent. And he's like, "He's a good wee doggy," because he sounded like a robot.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Those were invented. Those were literally invented for Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth smoked so many fucking cigars that he got throat cancer, so they invented the voice box for Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the conclusion of this film?
Who the fuck knows?
The film does end. It actually goes to
have monkeys. I'll give you that, Chris.
Yeah.
There's no monkeys.
Well, right before the very end, you actually see the camera crew, and he's like, "Yeah, we're filming this."
That sucked. But Vivi shows up in uniform again. She kind of like lays it all down. I thought it was weird. The film kind of righted itself at the end. It's like, well, this is where you're actually at, and made her say something. You know, like nothing. Okay, all right. See, you're not fucked up. And it's like, it's weird. It's like it did a kind of reconciliation at the end. Very subtle.
I had tipped over the card table at the point with.
At this point, you were outside.
I love the scene where Bibi does the same monologue twice, and once the camera is on her, and once the camera is on her.
Okay. What is going on there? Why?
They're the same person.
Bergman, go fuck yourself. I don't watch the same goddamn thing twice. That pissed me off so much.
No, it's brilliant.
I forgot about that.
I think it's brilliant.
It sucks.
Obviously, it didn't piss you off that much.
Intercutting is great. Intercutting is our friend. Sucks.
What did Jared say that you said you're right, Jim?
It's a good scene.
Oh, it's a good scene. All right.
Yeah, twice. It's two good scenes, right?
So good we had to do it twice.
Well, it's one scene, but it's shown twice.
Like when the bands in the 80s only had like one hit, and they played at the beginning of the set and the end of the set.
Question mark the Mysterians having a 2-minute version of it, like,
but the actress actually performs it differently, so it is
different.
Yes. Come
subtle.
on.
Yeah, it is.
Same goddamn scene.
Not the same take.
Yeah, Jesus.
Not the same take. It was awesome.
That was Bergman
show because they didn't have coverage. There's only
Bergman was showboating. At that point, he was showboating.
Maybe he needed. I think I read add the running time out a little bit.
Well, I think I read that he decided that in editing because he had it and he goes, "I'm just going to do both of them."
No, he drew attention to himself by not doing intercutting. He's like, "I'm going to do this twice," and all I did is reveal.
But who else has done that? It's so fucking brilliant. Like,
who the fuck cares?
You've never seen that before, and it works.
Okay, all right, okay, I'll accept that.
I agree with Jared.
I don't. I think it's a complete waste of my time for a minute and a half.
And I very
right, exactly, Chris.
The thing is,
it's one of those things that just disappears.
The rest of the film, I love that part. Stopped me cold. You know what I mean?
Made me like it even more.
Yeah. Okay. All right. My God, where are we gonna go from here? Jim, do you have a corner here at all?
Jim's corner was picking it.
Jim's corner is he picked these movies.
You know what? We can't go there.
I picked it, and I enjoyed the whatever of your whatever.
The chaos that you've
chaos
spinning off into the void.
Yes.
Exactly.
This is.
This is not
for 3 thumbs.
This is not Tokyo Story. It's not in here. It's in here, but I still like it.
All right.
I don't know what the fuck it was about, but I still like it.
It's 9 out of 10.
No, Jim.
Go, Jim.
Yo, Jim.
It's interesting that Jared mentioned Dreyer, because Ozu, there's a famous book by Paul Schrader, another alum of Yelling About Movies, called Ozu, Bresson, and Dreyer, Transcendental Style in Filmmaking, or Cinema, I guess. And they do have some qualities that are obviously that somebody noticed. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, no, I noticed it right away. Right away.
Yeah.
And this is like, for me, it's like this and Cure are like top 2 for this year.
Right on.
Wow, that's something. That's something. I thought it was mostly a great success. Again, I saw it in a terrible 60mm version when in college. This was actually a revelation.
This is gorgeous.
This is the most beautiful transfer I've ever seen.
It's so good.
80% of the film is fantastic. 20% is him trying too hard.
This is a 9 out of 10 for me because of the weird, like, it's a film stuff. And that doesn't change. That doesn't change how much I enjoyed watching the rest of it. Like it doesn't degrade the experience. It just doesn't allow it to rise all the way to the top for me. But
at least the Schellenbach cut.
Yeah, it's that's very much we're taking all of that weird,
all the projection. But here's the thing: if you really wanted to be dogmatic about that rule, you would miss all that beautiful stuff in the beginning, because that montage is part of the.
Yeah, it's a great.
Those 2 frames of erect penis.
Wiener.
But the boy in the hand,
David Fincher, you have explained it.
Oh, that's another thing too. Is you don't crucify someone that way. If you drive a nail through someone's hand,
it'll rip right out.
It falls right out.
Oh, that's just. It didn't matter because that was his art film.
Put it here.
Has to be here, right?
Put it through the wrist. Or if you're a Filipino pastor who's trying to do it for the cred, you tie your wrist to the cross and then put it through your hand. Like those are
for the weekend, so everyone can see it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Are we all done? Well, we thumbed up? Are we thumbed up?
About crucifixions.
Okay.
I'll thumb it up again.
All right, here we go. All right. There it is. And we're done. All right.